You know, actually, I wanted to get on this one tonight. We're going for blue. We're going for blue. I'm feeling blue tonight. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to our anxiety support stream, anxiety and depression. We can't forget depression because many of us suffer with this as well. Our anxiety and depression support stream, and I do have a teaching. I started this last week, although I don't know if it uploaded or not, but if it didn't, I will link it to this video because it's part one. It's our little intro. But I will give you a minute to log on, those of you that are coming to watch the live, and those of you that want to chat with me tonight. In the meantime, I'm going to finish my little outline. You guys, I took a nap. I'm very happy because I was so exhausted from my on-calls last night. Or last night and the night before, but last night was, it was a little rough. So, thankfully, I was worried I was going to have to cancel if I didn't get a nap in, but I did. And it's great, and I'm happy. We're going to get into the second part of the first teaching, which is on spirit. So what I'm doing and hoping to do this month with y'all is give you 8 ways, give or take. I picked 8 because it is the month of new beginnings, and 8 is the number of new beginnings. 8 ways to cope with anxiety and depression default patterns. Anybody wrestling with these things? Are you finding it hard to break those old patterns and move on and move forward into your new? Well, hopefully, this is going to give you a little bit of certainly spiritual arsenal tonight. And just to overview, just to give you a little bit of context for last week so we know what we're getting into, I shared that I shared 2 last week. I'm actually sharing 4, so maybe it's more than 8 ways, but that's okay. The more the merrier. I shared 2 ways last week. To take my cares to God in real time. That is to say, when I'm feeling anxious or stressed or depressed, I take it to Him in real time. I don't let it fester. I don't let it linger. I don't let it overtake me. Although the reality is that this can happen, and this does happen to a lot of us, especially if we are in chronic states of anxiety or depression. So I shared 3 ways that you can do this. Number 1 is through prayer. Number 2 is I use the acronym ASK, which stands for Ask, Seek, and Knock, taken from the scripture itself. And the third one was communing with God. How's it going, everybody? Welcome. Good to see all of you coming in. And then part 2 was speak what you want to see, not what you see, and rebuke what you don't want to see. This is very important. So yeah, that was last week. I'll link it here. Hopefully it's still on there. You guys, my live streams are very wonky since I've moved to the new place. But hopefully this will be fixed very, very soon. So hopefully I still have it up there. And if I do, I will link it to this video. But let's get into this. How's it going tonight? How's it going tonight? Lion Andres Messi official. Idiot. That's not very nice. But how's it going? Thanks for stopping by and insane idiot for whatever reason that came to you. I think maybe this class might be good for you. Are you struggling with a little anxiety and stress and anger, perhaps? Hi, Cash from Sweden. Good to see you. Okay, so let's get into this. Number one, these are 8 ways to cope with anxiety and depression default patterns. Because, y'all, if we don't change our old ways, they will keep us bound and stuck and disgruntled and all kinds of darkness. And that's no fun. We don't like that. We don't want that. So, number one, and again, this is part 2 of spirit. So, I'm going to get into 8 ways: spirit, soul, and body. So, last week was spirit, first part. This week is spirit, second part. And I'm going to give you 2 tonight. And then next week we will get into the soul realm, which I'm a little bit of an expert on. And I welcome you to rejoin me next week. And I pray that this blesses you tonight. Okay, so number 1 is nature. I feel like depending on your temperament and your personality and probably the geographic location that you are in, nature is either very accessible and very natural for you, or it is something that you have to work at or work toward. Nonetheless, I firmly believe this, and I personally am in a space of, I pray, permanent transition into this assimilation into my own healing process. But nature itself is the easiest and most accessible form of therapy for your anxiety and depression. Now, granted, those of us that live in extreme climate, or I should say, we have seasons of extreme climate. So let's say you live in the north and it gets brutally cold. You have 4 to 6 months out of the year that you're stuck inside and you don't see the sun. This is probably a little bit harder for you, but nonetheless, there are ways to work around this. Or those of us, like myself, that are in very hot climate in the summer, yeah, it's not fun. I don't like going outside in the summer. In fact, I don't think I ever have. That's one thing I can say I do not like about my hometown of Texas. In the summer, it's gross. It's absolutely gross. I can't stand it. So for me, in the summer, it's a little bit of a challenge to get outside. However, we can work around it. So there are 6 spaces of nature that I want you to take with you, and find one that just naturally speaks to you and adapt it and adopt it into your routine, your daily routine. Hi, how's it going, everybody? Good to see y'all. Hey. Number 1 is air. If you've been rocking with me for a little bit, you already know I teach you that breathing is literally number 1 when it comes to calming your central nervous system down. So with it said, while it's fine to be inside and have your AC on or your heater on, whatever time of the year it is for you, and doing your breathing exercises there, it is much more impactful and beneficial to actually be outside and breathing in fresh air. Yes, I know we're living in days of toxicity and who knows what else is going on in the atmosphere. Nonetheless, I believe God protects us, and in spite of, we can still breathe natural air. So air is number 1. Number 2 is water. Are there any other water babies in the house? This is actually part of why I feel so, in some level, disconnected from myself. I'm a water baby. I'm a water sign. I need water. I actually used to go to the coast quite frequently, and sort of lose myself and find myself all at once because I love the beach. I love the ocean. So water, and when I say water, I do mean natural. Yes, taking a hot bath is wonderful, taking a shower, but I'm talking about in nature. So going to the lake, going to the river, floating down the river, going to the beach and allowing the salt water to just wash over you. This is therapy, and this is a beautiful way to literally soak. Soaking is actually something that I will probably be getting into a little bit more. This is a spiritual practice, but there's obviously layers to this. But soaking in water while you are soaking in the spirit to cleanse your energy, to cleanse, you know, spiritual attacks that have come against you. This is a very powerful way to do this. And we do this through water. If you guys have any questions, do not hesitate. I am here listening. Okay, so number 3 is earth. Earth is obviously literally the ground. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's actual dirt or grass or sand. I mean, I suppose you could stand on the sidewalk or concrete, but it might not be very comfortable. I would encourage you to do something with the texture of the earth itself. This would take us into grounding techniques, which are very important because remember, we come from the earth. So in order for us to recalibrate, it's very important that we reconnect with the earth, however this looks for you. And we could certainly get into, you know, different plants, different herbs, different ways to incorporate this into our food, into our food consumption, which is part of this actually. But I'm talking about you physically touching the earth somehow. It doesn't even matter which part of your body, as long as you're making this contact with the earth. This is a very simple and powerful way to reset the nervous system. Okay, number 4, actually 4, 5, and 6, they are all together. But this is light therapy. And when I say light, I do mean the lights in the expanse. So the moon, the sun, and the stars. Many of us already know the sun is a natural form of vitamin D, which we need, because vitamin D actually supports the body's absorption of other vitamins. So many of us, like I say, during the summer my vitamin D is super low because I'm hardly outside. Many of you suffer with this as well, and it does impact your anxiety and depression. It's a domino effect. So me going outside and getting sunlight, in fact, it's best to get it in the morning. Actually, there's this whole process that happens in the body. If I get sunlight the first 30 minutes after I wake, it boosts every chemical in my body to function properly. This is so beautiful and amazing. So light therapy, sun during the day. At night, did you guys see that? I think that was a little birdie flying across. That's funny. I love God winks. Number 2, the moon. So the moon is our nightlight, and it encourages us as well I feel like the moon has its own little vitamins for us that support our dream life in our dream world. And of course, the stars, they are very much therapy. So, take this with you this week and find one of these natural elements to connect with to help you recenter and recalibrate your nervous system. To help you, because again, all of this is going somewhere, because I'm putting all of this together for us this month, but this is the foundation. Very important. Number 2, to invite spirit into my core. Now, when I say core, I do mean my spiritual core, first and foremost. But my spiritual core affects my physical. Okay? It's a domino effect. Spirit connects to soul, which connects to body. Okay? So, but if my spirit is well fed, well nourished, well rested, then my soul will have somewhere to anchor itself to find that rest that I need, which most of the time is where we're battling anxiety and depression. It is in the mental realm, it is in the emotional realm, and for those of us that have battled it for too long, it is in the physical realm. And if we're not careful, it can actually become a very crippling existence once it's in the physical. That is to say that your entire body has been hijacked by your anxiety or your depression. It's almost like my whole identity surrounds itself, is entangled with my affliction. And for those of you that are wrestling with this, I do invite you to my one-to-one sessions. Anxiety and depression is one of my expertise. And I can help you learn to find these roots of entanglement so that you don't have to be bound anymore to them. You can learn how to cope, you can learn how to manage, and you can definitely learn how to conquer. So number 1 is understanding I listed it as number 1, but it's not necessarily number 1. The gut-brain axis connection to your vagus or your vagal nervous system, your central nervous system, okay? You have to understand that, yes, there is a connection to what is going on in my gut, not just in terms of food, although this is part of this. But if I am someone who holds my anxiety or my depression in my gut, which some of us do, and how do you know if this is you? Well, chances are you wrestle with stomach issues. Okay? You hold your anxiety or your depression in your gut. You have stomach issues, you have, whether it's stomach or digestion, maybe you feel like a ball in your stomach. There's so many different, symptoms you could have. But the thing I want you to pinpoint for yourself is, do I carry my anxiety in my stomach, in my gut? Because if you do, this is especially important for you to understand that carrying it here is going to completely affect how you process food, how your body digests everything you consume. You might even have complications or secondary conditions because of this. You guys, I can get so deep into this, but understanding the gut brain axis, okay? And yes, how I think affects how my body responds to everything. How's it going? How is it going? What am I talking about? I'm talking about some ways to cope with anxiety and depression. Specifically, nurturing your spirit. Number 2 is food. So, I'm going to preface with this. Personally, considering the times that we're in, considering the chaos and the craziness that's going on with global outbreaks of diseases, which, by the way, I've been sharing this for a while. This is going to continue. So I need to go higher and connect myself to faith in a way that surpasses this earth realm. Okay? There's so much more I could say about this, but pray over your food. Even if it's a grape, pray over everything you eat. Ask God to bless it. It doesn't have to be, a deep prayer about it, but ask Him to bless the food that you're about to consume. This is, I can't stress this enough, you guys. We are in times that, oh my gosh. But the food that you eat is important. So with this said, I'm not going to tell you what to eat because I feel like that's a personal thing. Everybody has different preferences, different likes, perhaps even different needs according to your own body, certainly struggles. So, but what is important to understand is yes, food does impact me. Food does have an effect on obviously my health, my mood, my ability to function. So it's very important that I am cognizant of what I'm eating. And I'm certainly learning wherever you are and whatever issues you're battling, that I'm learning how to take food as a source of energy and nutrition. Okay? And this gets into those of you that do struggle with addiction. Some of you struggle with addiction. Some of you have issues with consuming too much of something. Okay, and this can even be, going into the area of medications and things like that. So remember, whatever I'm ingesting is considered food into my body, and it will affect my overall health. So, inviting the Spirit into this space of your life. Lord, please bless this food or this drink, whatever I'm about to consume. And number 3 and last is movement. Inviting Spirit into my core through movement. You guys, and I'm not even sitting here, well, I was going to say I'm not sitting here from an area of expertise, but actually I am. I'm just out of practice. But I must remember that I was created to move. And I'm not even saying this as a dancer, although that is part of my recovery, actually, and it is part of my fading illness. I will say this. But even if you're not, okay, if you're not an athlete, you're not a dancer, you're not anybody who has had that as part of their life or lifestyle, God created us to move. Our bodies were created to move. So I must learn to implement some kind of movement in my daily life. If it's walking, like, you have your night walk that you do every night, beautiful. Whatever it is, it must be incorporated in your daily life. This is not only this, but the deeper meaning of this is when I'm incorporating or inviting spirit into my core when it comes to my movement. I'm not just haphazardly going places, okay? I have intentionality about my movement, okay? So yeah, this is important. Movement. ¿Qué más? I think that's it. Short and sweet tonight. I am going to get more into movement in the future, and I'm not going to say anything else about it because I don't like to announce before. I like to move in silence, y'all. So, but it's just a heads up. We're going to talk more about movement in the future on my channel. But anyways, hope y'all are doing well. Hi, everybody that came in later. Good to see all of you. Thanks for saying hello. If you guys have any questions, I'll open it up for a few. You can ask me anything related to what I just shared or your own struggles. If you guys are wrestling with anxiety or depression, I am happy to answer any questions for a couple of minutes before I say goodnight. Anybody watch the solar eclipse? Did anybody get to see it on the other side of the world? We didn't get to see it in the States. It was too far away. But I did get to see one, actually. I think it was 2017. It was, 2017. I got to see that one. But how's it going, you guys? Anything you want to share before I say good night? I'm gonna come back on Friday. So this is something I would like somebody to let me know, whether it's here on the live or if you want to post a comment on my video. But how is my stream looking on your end? Because so far it hasn't turned off and it hasn't it hasn't done the buffering thing. So I would like to know though, if you guys are getting a clear image and sound on your end for my live streams, because I have had some issues before. So I would like to know that if somebody doesn't mind letting me know. And then soul strengthening sessions, I am going to be, yeah, I've been saying this for a whole month, but I'm going to be bringing this as a video. I already decided I'm not going to do it as a live because it's a whole teaching. It's probably going to take me a little bit long because we're already on the 12th of August, but I'm going to launch it this month for you. So what else? All my services on my website, which you can find at shesrestore.com, I am doing them for half off to celebrate the second half of the year and New Beginnings Squared. So if you're interested, I will give you half off of whatever you find on my website. So just FYI, if you're interested, don't hesitate to reach out. You can also shesrestore.com. You can email me there too, I think. shesrestore@gmail.com. If you have any prayers or questions or inquiries about anything, my work or my channel or anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I also have my Instagram at She's Restored for my inner healing work, or you can go to Soñado Libre Sound, which is my artist and music community. And I do have a channel, by the way, for our family over there. I just haven't, honestly, I really just haven't had time to pour into that channel, but I will at some point. So anyways, with that said, it doesn't look like anybody has any questions, so I'm going to say good night. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the week. And yes, this solar eclipse was rare and it was significant. And I will get into that on Friday. I was going to talk a little bit about it tonight, but I decided I'm just going to save it for Friday, the last day's live stream. So don't hesitate to log in on Friday. I will see you then.